Hi everyone. The topic that we are going to see is vegetative reproduction in plants by natural methods. The subtopics that we are going to cover in this video are definition for vegetative reproduction, its characteristic features, the different types of vegetative reproduction and its advantages and disadvantages. Asexual reproduction in flowering plants occurs through vegetative parts. The root, stem, leaf are considered as the vegetative parts of a flowering plant. From these vegetative parts arises a new individual. So this method of obtaining new individuals from the root, stem or leaf is called as vegetative reproduction or vegetative propagation. The different units that are being used for this vegetative reproduction, that is the root, stem, leaf and bulbil, are called as vegetative propagules or diaspores. These vegetative propagules not only help in reproduction but also serve as organs of storage and perennation. Vegetative reproduction can take place naturally or it could be carried out by man, which is called artificial. The characteristic features of vegetative reproduction are: only a single organism is involved in this reproduction. There is no production of gametes and fusion of gametes. The newly individuals that are formed by this method are genetically identical to their parents. Only mitotic divisions take place. It is a simple and a rapid method of reproduction that takes place under favorable conditions. Now let us see the different methods of vegetative reproduction. Since, as I've told you in the previous slide, that root, stem or the leaf could act as vegetative propagules, the different types of vegetative reproduction is being classified into the following type based on these propagules. That is vegetative reproduction by root, vegetative reproduction by stem, vegetative reproduction by leaves and vegetative reproduction by bulbils. So these four headings we are going to see elaborately, giving examples. This is just a flow chart to make you understand the different methods of vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction could occur by root, stem, leaves and bulbils. Now under stems we are going to see the two different subtypes, underground stem and subaerial stems. Under underground stems we are going to see rhizome, bulb, corm and stem tuber. Under subaerial stems, runner, sucker, stolon and offset. These are all the subtypes and with examples we are going to see in our later videos. Now first topic that we are going to see is vegetative reproduction by roots. The roots of the plants develop buds on them. These buds are called vegetative buds or adventitious buds. Initially, the buds make use of the stored food that is available in the root and start growing. At one stage, when they have become a small plant, they get themselves detached from the parent root and start leading a new individual life. So in this picture you are able to see a small bud which has grown producing the leafy shoot, and this leafy shoot gets detached from the root, and when it reaches the soil, it starts leading an independent new life. So we could give here a number of examples. So woody plants like Murraya, Dalbergia, Albizia lebec and Millingtonia develop buds on their roots. These buds develop into leafy shoot which later grow into new plants. Some of the tuberous adventitious roots, that is food storage roots, like Ipomia batatas, dahlia, asparagus, tapioca and yam, they develop buds. At the same time, these roots store also food materials. The second topic that we are going to see is vegetative reproduction by stems. Buds develop on the stems of plants. The stem could be of two types, underground and subaerial stems. Both of these two types develop buds which can give rise to a new plant. Underground stems. Modifications of the underground stem help to store food material, help as an organ of perennation, and also does vegetative propagation. So this underground stems remains inside the soil at the time of adverse conditions. Adverse conditions, for example, it could be a dry condition, that is drought, or it could be winter also. The buds that are present in these underground stem, they become active and give rise to a new plant only at the time of favorable conditions. So unfavorable conditions, they remain inside the soil undergoing dormancy. But once they come across the favorable condition, they start growing into a new plant. There are 4 subtypes under the underground stems: rhizome, bulb, corm and stem tuber. We are going to see each type in detail. Rhizome. Rhizome is a horizontally growing underground stem. This stem is found beneath the soil. This rhizome, actually it is swollen due to storage of food material. Since it is a stem, it has got nodes, internodes, scale leaves and adventitious roots. The terminal bud, which is found at the tip of the stem, it will start growing upward above the soil and produce the flowering shoot when during the time of favorable conditions. The lateral buds present in the rhizome, they give rise to new plant. For example, Gingiber officinale, Curcuma longa and Musa paradisiaca. These are few examples for rhizome. Bulb. Bulb are highly condensed conical stem. In the picture, you are able to see the stem being marked, which is highly reduced. So size wise it is small. This stem is surrounded by a number of scale leaves. These scale leaves are arranged in concentric circles. The inner scale leaves are thick and fleshy due to storage of food material, whereas the outer scale leaf is thin and dry. So the outer scale leaf is protective in function. The terminal bud give rise to the flowering shoot, and the axillary bud produce the new plants at the time of favorable conditions. Till then, they remain inside the soil. The best examples for bulb are Allium cepa, Allium sativum and Lilium species. Corm. Corms have short stem and the stem is swollen due to food storage. Like bulb, corms also develop terminal as well as axillary buds. The terminal bud grow into the flowering shoot and axillary buds develop new young corms, yes, that are capable of growing into new plants in the next season. All this will happen at the time of favorable conditions only. Amorphophallus, Colocasia, Alocasia, Crocus, Gladiolus are a few examples of corm. Stem tuber. The stem becomes thick under the soil due to storage of food. Such an underground stem is called as stem tuber. Solanum tuberosum and Helianthus tuberosus are the best examples for stem tuber. Now in the picture you are able to see a large potato being drawn, and from that potato arises a new baby plant. This potato tuber, yes, has got a number of buds. These buds are also called as eyes of the potato. Each of these buds, making use of the food available in the potato tuber, give rise to a new baby plants. These baby plants start growing above the soil, producing the leaves and flowers. All this will happen only during the time of favorable conditions. Till then, the potato tuber remains inside the soil, undergoing dormancy. The next subtype that we are going to see is the subaerial stems. Subaerial stems are found in plants which have got a weak stem. So from the word subaerial itself, you will know that part of the stem is inside the soil and the remaining part of the stem lies above the soil. This subaerial stem serves as vegetative propagation. There are 4 different types of subaerial stems: runner, sucker, stolon, offset. These 4 types we are going to see in detail. Runner. Runners are creeping plants that produce horizontal stems growing from the parent plant. When the terminal bud of this subaerial stem, that is runner, touches the ground, it produces adventitious roots which also at its node produces new plants. Centella asiatica, Cynodon dactylon are very good examples for runner. Sucker. Suckers are slender underground branches that originate from the underground part of the stem. So from the underground stem arises buds. These buds grow initially inside the soil obliquely, yes, and then come out above the soil, producing the leafy shoot. These suckers give rise to adventitious root at its base. The suckers can be detached or cut from the parent plant and allowed to grow separately into a new plant. Chrysanthemum is a very good example for sucker. Stolon. Stolon are also slender stems whose lateral branches originate from the base of the stem. Initially, stolons grow obliquely above the soil, produces an arc or a loop. So in the diagram you can see that arc or the loop. So this loop bends down, touches the soil, producing the adventitious roots at its base and the leafy shoot above. So thus this stolon can become an independent plant. Jasminum, mentha, fragaria are good examples of stolon. Offset. Offset also are similar to runners, but you can find offset in aquatic plants, especially those plants which produce rosette of leaves. You will find a cluster of leaves in some aquatic plants, that is aquatically floating hydrophytes. These offset are stout, thick, lateral branches of one internode long runners. The offset develops a tuft of leaves above and adventitious roots below. Eichhornia and Pistia are good examples of offset. Now let us see the third topic, vegetative reproduction by leaves. Sometimes in some plants the leaves develop buds on their surface or on their midrib. Such buds are called as epiphyllous buds. Epi means above, phyllo means leaf, so buds developing on the leaves. So when these buds develop into small plantlets, making use of the food material available in the parent plant, later they get themselves detached and start leading an independent life. Bryophyllum, Begonia, Scilla, Kalanchoe, they are all very good examples for vegetative reproduction by leaves. In Bryophyllum and Kalanchoe, the young plantlets that develop from the adventitious buds along the notches of their leaf margin. So you can see the leaf margin, along the leaf margin you are able to see a number of plantlets. So initially buds will be formed, later these buds develop into plantlets. Now these plantlets for their initial growth make use of the food that is available in the parent leaf, that is the parent plant. Once they start developing their green leaves, yes, and roots, they get themselves detached, fall into the soil and become independent plants. In Scilla, the foliage leaves, that is the green leaves, are very long, narrow, and epiphyllous buds develop at the tip of these leaves. So when these buds develop, these buds develop into new plants only when these leaves touch the ground. Then fourth topic, vegetative reproduction by bulbils. Bulbils are bulb-shaped condensed axillary buds. These bulbils are formed at the angle between the leaf and the stem, or sometimes in the place of flowers of certain plants. Bulbils, when they are fully grown, they fall into the soil and develop into new plants. Even these bulbils, when they are fully formed, they can be removed and allowed to grow separately. Dioscorea and agave are good examples for bulbils. Now let us see its advantages and disadvantages of the natural vegetative reproduction. Advantages: only one parent is involved for propagation, whereas for sexual method we need two parents. Now the new individuals that are being produced will be genetically identical to the parent plant, so exactly similar like the parent plant. This method is a rapid method of development, so you can get within a short span, you can get a number of plants. Horticulturalists and farmers utilize these natural vegetative methods for cultivation, and they are able to harvest plants in large scale. The main disadvantage of this method is newly formed plants by this method have no genetic variation, since These plants resemble the parents. They are not able to show any genetic variation. Now it's time for you to put on your thinking cap and answer the following questions. I have given here 10 questions of 1 mark each. You can see whether you could answer these questions. If you have watched my video with full concentration, you will be able to answer these questions. Pause the video for few minutes and try to answer these questions, and the answer for all these questions is available in my last slide.